Former KCK, former voice of UC Davis.
Yeah.
Whenever I have him on, since you and I started doing the show, I go back to being like the little kid again, on with my two older brothers. And the king of out-kicking coverage, I've always said. God bless him for it. Gotta wonder why. The one, the only Eric Hasseltine. Good morning.
Well, first of all, I didn't know your head could get any bigger until I saw it on the side of the building last night coming out of Tom's after we met up with some friends. Good Lord, man.
What do you want? It's genetics, dude. I got a big head.
You walked in, the bartender said, "Why the long face?"
Right. I said genetics.
Yeah.
My brain goes sideways. What do you want?
Yeah, I know. No, it was cool. It was kind of cool to see you guys up there on that. That's good publicity. No, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
We need a new picture, don't we, though?
I didn't even know we were up
there. No, it's good.
Yeah.
Digitally.
I feel like that's
went Kane Brown, then you guys.
Yeah, it's the one where I'm in like the Red Republic shirt, and I don't know, we're in golf shirts.
Yeah, but remember the other one you had? That you really
God,
hated?
The used car salesman one. I'm wearing a button up.
Yeah.
Anyways, how are you, buddy? We'll get to stuff, but you got a lot of. You still got a lot. There's a lot of Hazeltiners still here. A lot of people just loving you. Eric's coming on. They're excited. They remember you. How's life? Are you now officially like? How long ago did you finally consider yourself, or do you, a Tennessean?
I don't.
No, you're still a Californian?
I'm a gypsy. Well, this is home. I'm a float. I've lived there longer than anywhere, singly, because here I split time between Walnut Creek and Sacramento. So in one actual city, I've lived in Memphis longer. I'm good. To answer your question, I'm good. Just kind of rolling through as we go. It's been 23 years. I was thinking about that when we landed today, and I saw the new Costco out where the old arena used to be and all the new development. And, people were asking, they always like to ask questions. Well, what's that? I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. That was not there when I was here. I have no clue. I can't tell you. I got nothing for you. So it's been a minute. Yeah, I thought about that and thought about the fact that a couple of my friends who hadn't had children when I left now have kids that are graduating college. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Avery's going to college the year after next, Eric.
Yeah, mine's a sophomore at Santa Cruz. Yeah, it happens before you know it. And yeah, no, that's I was happy for her. I'm super proud of her. That's where she wanted to go. She did apply to my alma mater and Jason's alma mater, but really wanted to go to Santa Cruz, and that fit her better. And that's where she got in. And as I told her, I said, not my 4 years. My 4 years are gone. So you go where you want to go. So you're not going to hurt my feelings if that's where you want to go. And so she's there. And then, just raising my son out in Memphis with his mom and stepdad. And that's a lot when you're on the road a lot, but he's a great kid and super proud of him too. So yeah, life's good. I can't complain. They still pay me to watch basketball. And when they tell me to stop, I'll figure something else out to do, but hopefully that doesn't stop anytime soon.
I was thinking the same thing about that, Eric. How old's your son now? He's got to be getting up there.
He's 12.
Wow.
I hate him. I hate him because he's taller, better looking, a better athlete.
That's not a challenge. That's not being taller.
It's really not. It's really not. His mom is 5'10", so he got some of those genetics, and the ones that skipped me because my dad was over 6. So I am vertically challenged. I was told by somebody that they appreciated, though, the fact that I didn't say I was 6 feet tall. I said I'm like 5'9", 5'10". I'm like, at least you're honest. I'm like, yeah, with shoes even. So, no, he's great. He's doing everything that boys do. He plays basketball. He plays baseball. Played football. Kind of gave up on that, but it's fun raising a little athlete. It's also a chore because you're running them to every known practice whatsoever. But it's great. He's awesome. I've gotten to spend more time with him this year than ever because we homeschooled him for a year or two and just kind of figuring out what we want to do moving forward. And for me, it's been awesome. I get to spend the days with him when we're at home, and so that's better because there were years where I felt like I never saw my kid with this crazy job that I have, and I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, things are, like I said, things are good. Not the season for the Grizzlies for the first time in 4 years. They're going to miss the postseason, or maybe even 5. I think if you had the COVID year where they went to the bubble, but look, these things happen. You can't control them. It's a tough deal to watch guys go down. It was almost like laughable at one point where in 4 nights, you lost 4 guys, like for long periods of time. You're like, okay, come on. This is now absurd. It went John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, and then Jake LaRavia. And in the midst of that, Luke Kennard got banged up too. And you're just like, what are we doing? So, I mean, they have a just serious possibility of having 50 different starting lineups this year.
Wow. That's insane.
50.
Yeah.
They're already at 41, and tonight maybe 42.
How is it with the fan base out there? Because Memphis, historically, not as bad as the Kings, but certainly has struggled much with exceptions. And then, you had the grit and grind and all that, and that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ja comes in, and it's just, you guys are the next big thing. And I'm curious how the fan base is out there, because you try to transfer it out here and think and go, well, I feel like if it was our fan base, they'd be like, well, the bright side is that, everyone's heard it once. So if you're looking through rose-colored glasses, it's all right. We are currently right smack there in the lottery, and maybe it's one of those, we get a beautiful lottery pick we have no business being in based on the talent. Everybody comes back healthy next year, and now all of a sudden it's back off to the races. Does that help kind of buoy them, or is it all, everyone's freaking out?
I wouldn't say they're freaking out. The difference is that we've battled since I've been there and still battling it, the city's relationship with the University of Memphis. And it's not really a battle in our eyes. I mean, it's two different games. The college game and the pro game are just different. And there are still people that push back with resistance, fewer now than when we started, but they just say, I'm only a college basketball fan. And my response is, why? Like, why don't you, if you like basketball, why don't you like basketball played at the highest level? If you like basketball, why don't you like the best players in the world? You can like college. I'm all for it. I love college basketball, but it's just different. It's played different. The talent level's different. So there's still a little bit of that. I think the frustrating thing for people is that there's a chip on their shoulder there. And I don't mean it to be super negative, but everybody just goes, it's Memphis. We can't have nice things is kind of their phrase. And you lose Steven Adams at the beginning of the year, and you lost Brandon Clark last year. And obviously the stuff that happened with Ja last year was a year where people truly in January believed they had a chance to win a championship. And it was probably the first time in this franchise's history where not just people that were looking through the world through Grizzly colored glasses, people in the league. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people came up and said, yo, you guys might win the whole thing. And my response to that, because it was happening at midway, like, let's pump the brakes just a smidge. It's game 42. There's a lot that can happen. And unfortunately that turned to be true. When you lost Adams and Clark last year, that was massive. That was how the Lakers just had a distinct advantage on the interior. Obviously LeBron's always an advantage, and they just couldn't, when you got stops, you couldn't get the ball. And that made a huge difference in a couple of those games. And that's all it takes in the playoffs, as you guys know. So I think they're looking at this year as there's nothing they could have done about this. They're getting to look at players. We're getting a look at a young man named Gigi Jackson that was on a 2-way deal after being a 2nd-round pick, who right now should be playing for North Carolina. He reclassified, and this has been the bright side of it. Vince Williams, one of the Grizzlies that wasn't playing a lot, finally got a chance to play and showed he's capable of having a roster spot and contributing. Those are the positives. But the negatives are there are nights you go out and you don't have it. And these guys fight, and I think the city respects that, because the one thing that everybody says, you guys compete every night, which we're closing games, though, with 4 guys that started the season in the G League against the Clippers, who are closing it with 4 Hall of Famers. It's a hard mountain to climb. So, yeah, they've been okay with it. But, I mean, I think everybody now is curious as what you're going to do with the draft pick, because apparently all these people are draft experts that read all the boards, and they say, well, there's no bigs at the top of the draft, so do we need to add another wing, or do we need to trade the pick? And I'm like, there are guys that have keys to their offices that make really nice salaries that are paid to make those decisions. Why don't you just relax and let them do that? Because so far they've done a pretty good job since they've taken over.
Yeah, Eric, I'm thinking about the lot that they're set here, and to me, it does still seem like a good spot to be in. You guys were the 2 seed last year, you know that. The West is better this year. Kings are experiencing some of that where they were the 3 seed, and now they're kind of scuffling in that 6, 7, 8, 9 range. But getting Ja back and Bain and Jackson and Smart to begin next year with the guys that you're developing, do you feel like even as good as the West was this year that they could just bounce right back to maybe even the top half of the Western Conference next year?
You sure hope so. You can see it potentially if you want to look positively at everything. You can see it. They stay healthy, and they focus on the important things. The development of some of the young guys that I just mentioned will certainly be a benefit. The question is, can you get the guy to replace Steven Adams? Because when you look at the upper level teams, obviously we know Denver with Nikola Jokic and they've won a championship. You look at the interior for Minnesota and they have those 2 big guys. And I would expect this injury for Karl Anthony Towns isn't a long lingering thing. But when you have Towns and Gobert, that's a big factor down there. For you guys, you have, to me, the most versatile big man going. And this was a guy that when he came out of Gonzaga, I was hoping the Grizzlies would get. There were a lot of mock drafts that had him coming to Memphis. And I'm like, if we were able to get Domantas Sabonis, that would be a massive step in the right direction. Unfortunately, Orlando grabbed him first. He went to OKC. We all know the rest is history. You guys have that. And then you look even with Oklahoma City, and Chet Holmgren is not a traditional big man. They're a big basketball team. We just saw them. They don't have a guy on their roster under 6'4". And if you think Lou Dort plays like he's 6'4", you're kidding yourself. He's built like a fire hydrant. And maybe Isaiah Joe, one of their guys coming off the bench. But they are so long and so athletic and so deep. And there's talk that they could shop, a couple of those guys that who knows what their role is going to be, that have incredible value and get even better. So it's hard, because Dallas gets Derek Lively. And so that piece in the middle is lacking right now, because what Steven Adams gave the Grizzlies, it was a couple of things. One, just a monster screen setter that frees up your ball handling, playmaking point guard who's as athletic as anybody in the league when he's healthy. 2, it freed up Jaren Jackson to go just roam and do what he does, which is find shots, block them, get in passing lanes, and he won the Defensive Player of the Year because of it. He was your best pick and roll defender because of his size, and he was your best offensive rebounder. And then you lost your second best in Brandon Clark, so that really hurt the team. Now, Clark, we'll see how he comes back from the Achilles. All signs seem to say that he's going to be just fine, but that's a scary injury. So that's where the debate right now lies for them, is how, if you get back to the top, who's the big man that's going to replace? So there's some guys in free agency that they're supposedly willing to make a run at. There's some guys in the draft that they would like to make a run at potentially. But Steven Adams is one of a kind. He was the glue that brought it all together. And they just felt like he may not get back to that level again, and they had a chance to get off some of the money, and so they traded him to Houston, and we'll see what happens there.
We are out of time. Never enough time with Eric. By the way, Alex Len from Marcus Smart. I will send that through. I think it works. Works for both teams.
No disrespect to the great Alex Len out of Maryland, the Ukrainian
body down low.
I think trading Marcus Smart to you guys for just about anybody not named Sabonis or Fox would not be, or Murray. That wouldn't be. First of all, I don't know if I can even talk about that. I'm probably going to get yelled at.
It's true. Careful.
Yeah, careful. Let's hit that dump button.
Right. We'll walk it back.
Yeah, we'll walk it back.
Okay.
All in jokes, but yeah, no. Marcus is a terrific player. We miss him.
Well, you're a terrific guy, and we miss you. Look at that.
I miss you guys. I miss seeing you.
You missed me buying pizza for you so I could watch the game with you.
Luigi's was really good in that studio, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially when I had to drive like half hour out of my way so I could open the door.
Well, we had what you needed, a TV to watch the game.
Eric used to look through the little window over at Madison and be like, let me see the pizza. Okay.
Make sure it's there.
Get in here.
Yeah.
This is not true. You lie to people constantly.
Now we have
you had to flash a $20 bill too.
We'll see you tonight, Jason. Well, at least always good to see you and have you look at our smiling faces on the side of buildings. And good luck to you. Bad luck to your team. And we'll talk to you soon.
Keep it up, boys. I love you.
All right, love you too. Thank you. See ya. That's Eric Hasseltine, voice of